Hello everyone, I'm Jim Longworth and welcome to another edition of Forsyth County Connections, coming to you from the studios of Government Center, downtown Winston-Salem. We're so glad you decided to join us today. A lot in store for you. And where we want to start is bringing back a special guest who's always so busy. We're glad we could just grab her from the fifth floor and get her in here for a few minutes. But Chantel Robinson, of course, County Manager for Forsyth County. Welcome back.
Thanks for having me.
Here we are in the month of June and the summer. I want to ask about the budget for just a second. For folks that may not know, when does a budget year start and end?
We're on a fiscal year, so it's July 1st through June 30th of each year.
So we're going to talk about what's coming up in the new budget, but before we do that, how would you, looking back to see, the current budget ending, are we in pretty good fiscal shape?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we really take pride here in Forsyth County of being good stewards of taxpayer dollars. And our commissioners did a lot of work this year to really try to position us to be stronger financially. And so overall, yes, we are in good financial shape.
All right, looking now to the new budget as it starts July 1, total budget for the year 2020, the fiscal year 2025-26. What's the total budget for that, and does that represent an increase or decrease?
It is going to be $591 million. It is a slight increase, about 1% over the current fiscal year, which is $583 million.
What property tax rate can most people expect to have?
Yeah. So our current tax rate is 67.78 cents. We are actually decreasing the tax rate to 53.52 cents. But the reason for that is because we were in a reappraisal year where housing values predominantly went up, and traditionally when that occurs, then tax rates come down.
Right.
And so it will be 53.52 cents, but that does represent a slight tax increase above revenue neutral of 4.48 cents.
Yeah, well, none of us like to pay taxes. I get that. But the fact that you're talking about reevaluating, and the fact that you're talking about prices going up, the values going up, that's a good thing, isn't it? That the people's homes' values are going up?
Absolutely. I mean, it shows that our community is thriving, to have housing values go up. It shows in some areas kind of revitalization. So it is not a bad thing for housing values to go up, but certainly that does impact what individuals may pay on their tax bills.
Right. And there's a lot of economic development going on in the area, the whole general Piedmont area. And of course, with more and more people and a bigger workforce, folks say, hey, I'm glad my house is worth more because I'm thinking of selling and downsizing or going up or whatever, and now it'll be easier to sell because there are all these more people around, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you are looking to sell right now, because values have gone up, on average in Forsyth County, it's 51%. Then those that are looking to sell will, quite frankly, make a lot of money.
Speaking of economic development, I know that we don't have the available land like some counties do. Randolph and other things. But how are we doing basically with attracting new business, new industry, taking care of existing industry? Sort of give me your opinion on how you think everything's going.
I mean, in general, we are doing okay. But what I will say is we are landlocked here in Forsyth County. I mean, while we are the fourth largest county, we're 60th in land size. And so that does create some challenges for us. So one of the things that we are working on right now is identifying sites that we can improve and create infrastructure for water and sewer so that we can attract new businesses. We are doing great with retaining existing businesses, and some of them are even expanding their businesses. And we are doing well attracting, but we know that we need to position ourselves to have sites that are already available so that we can bring in even more business to Forsyth County.
Let's talk a little bit about what the new budget provides or what it doesn't provide. I know people were pulling at you and Dr. Don Martin and the commissioners for, wanting funding for various things. You can't fund everything. But would you say that the new budget provides adequately for critical services? What's your assessment of that?
Absolutely. We are providing critical services for everything that we are responsible for. That's law enforcement and public health and social services and behavioral health services. And I won't go through the whole list, but I certainly wanted to make sure that we were able to maintain the services that we have, as well as the commissioners also voted to invest in providing funding to community organizations. And then certainly the largest portion of our budget does go to the school system.
All right, now I'm glad you mentioned that because we just have a little bit of time remaining. This is a hot button issue, the schools, because the CFO who recently resigned, I'm not going to use I don't know what the legal term would be, mismanaged or misfigured, a $42 million mistake. It's had rippling effects, as you know. I don't have to tell you, you know all the details. But what I hear on the street is people who live in Forsyth County, when they know I'm coming to interview you, they say, please ask her, are we going to have to pay, as taxpayers in Forsyth County, are we going to take care of that $42 million mistake?
So our Board of Commissioners voted not to utilize our savings because that would create a financial crisis, potential financial crisis for Forsyth County, and they also voted not to increase taxes for that purpose. So the answer is no, we do not anticipate paying that $42 million for the schools, and that $42 million is the amount that they know of today.
We didn't rehearse this, but let me wrap up in the last few seconds we have. Why is Forsyth County a good place to live, to work? What's your assessment on that?
I mean, I think there's a lot of things happening in Forsyth County. You know, we do have a good school system. So irregardless of what is happening, we have a great school system. We have low taxes compared to a lot of places. We have great amenities, active and vibrant living with parks and recreation and green spaces, and we have thriving businesses. I mean, and I could go on, but we really pride ourselves on wanting to have a community where individuals want to live, work, and play here, and we take that responsibility very seriously.
Absolutely. Well, I just thank you so much for taking a few minutes of your time. I know you're pulled in a lot of different directions, especially this time of year, but thanks for all you do.
Thank you.
We'll be right back after this.
Does that golden dust have you on the defense? Stay ahead of the pollen with the Forsyth County pollen forecast delivered by email.
You got mail.
The Forsyth County Office of Environmental Assistance and Protection uses a pollen sampler in downtown to capture readings Monday through Friday. They analyze the findings, create a forecast, and
You got mail.
you have a forecast in your email for the next 3 days. Sign up online today.
Back now on Forsyth County Connections, and you know, fire safety is an important topic, so we want to cover that. We want to talk about it a little bit in detail, and Bob Wall is here, Assistant Fire Marshal for the county, and we thank you for taking time. I know you're busy, but thanks for stopping by to help us on this.
Yes, sir.
All right, first of all, let's talk about the different kinds of fires that civilians might use. And one that you sent me an email about is what's called a recreational fire. Give me an example of that.
Yes, sir. So this is your general backyard, sit around, roast a marshmallow kind of fire.
Okay.
Generally defined by a 3-foot diameter and no taller than 3 foot.
And is there a certain distance, something like this, like you said, you want to roast marshmallows or have hot dogs or something out in the backyard, does it have to be a certain distance from a house?
We want it to be 25 foot away from a structure.
Okay. Now, what you also sent me something about bonfires and you know, trying to understand the different types of things. How would you define that civilians will do a bonfire in their yard or somewhere? What's a bonfire? Give me an example.
So a bonfire would be for ceremonial purposes. So whether like a church youth group is getting together, having a fire, that's going to be defined as a bonfire. Any kind of large gathering or something like that, that would be classified as a bonfire.
Then some people also do use what's called a fire pit.
Right.
So talk about that.
So fire pits are designed to make your outdoor fire safer. It gives a defined perimeter to the fire.
It could be a brick thing, or
It can be brick, it can be metal, it can be something you purchase. It can be something you build.
So Bob, this would kind of go back, circling back to the, roasted marshmallows or hot dogs. You would, I'm going to put words in your mouth, correct me if I'm wrong. You would prefer, if I was going to do something like that, hey kids, come on, we're going to do hot dogs. You'd prefer that we have a fire pit rather
Yes.
than just sitting out in the middle of the yard, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, your fire should be contained in
Now-
a fire pit.
Are there certain regulations about fire pits that we should keep in mind in terms of, like you said, not just size, but time of day or whatever?
So it has to comply with the county burn guidelines. Only natural vegetation originating from your property. So you can't, if you're a landscaper, somebody can't bring in branches and debris from other people's properties.
Okay.
Has to be from your property. Only natural products, so no trash, no construction debris.
So I can't, even if it's my own house, I can't just say, hey honey, come on, we're going to burn some trash out in our backyard. You don't
No,
want us
sir.
to do that?
No trash burning.
All right. And what about yard waste, like limbs and stuff?
Yes, you can burn that.
You can do that.
Yes.
You also mentioned something to me earlier about something called a nuisance fire. What did you
Correct.
mean by that?
So, certain atmospheric conditions make the smoke lay low, or maybe it's a little breezy, and the smoke becomes a nuisance to your neighbors.
I got you.
Yeah,
Now you're affecting other people.
correct.
What kind of fines can I face if I violate some of the things you've been talking about?
That really truly depends on the circumstance and how many times we've been to see you.
So if I keep ignoring you, I've been doing some open burning, and you've told me 3 times now not to do it. I mean,
Right. Yeah. So we can come at you with some kind of civil penalty. The Forestry Service may be involved, as well as environmental protection.
All right. Now, Bob, how can I learn more about fire safety and things going on? Where do you like people to go to?
The county has a great website, a great resource about open burning in the county.
Yeah.
As well as your local fire stations would have pamphlets and all kinds of information
All right.
for you.
Well-
You can always reach out to us anytime.
Again, as I said, I appreciate you spending a few minutes with us. I know you got a lot to do, but it's important that we at least
Yes, sir.
take a few minutes to talk about some of these safety issues. And I hope
sir.
people will go and check out these the websites. Thanks, Bob.
Yes, sir.
We'll be right back after this.
This is Forsyth. Property fraud is real. Protect your property today. Sign up for the Forsyth County Register of Deeds Property Fraud Alert. Be notified by email if someone tries to use your name or address on documents filed with the Register of Deeds. Following an alert, you can contact your lending institution and police to file a report. No Register of Deeds office has the authority to remove any document. Use our free property fraud alert at forsyth.cc/ROD.
Big things going on in the world lately. It's easy to feel overwhelmed. YourLifeYourVoice.org has advice for teens who are starting to doubt themselves. You have so much to offer. YourLifeYourVoice.org can help you find it.
Back now on Forsyth County Connections, and when the heat gets bad, you need relief, and we have a young lady that's going to talk about ways that the county's helping with that. And we're talking about, of course, Ray Stafford, who's Social Work Program Manager for the Forsyth County Department of Social Services. Welcome.
Thank you.
She sent me an email about something called Operation Fan Heat Relief.
Absolutely.
What is that all about?
So, Operation Fan Heat Relief has been around in the state for about 40 years. And essentially what that is energy providers contribute funds that are directed to local agencies such as ours, Forsyth County Department of Social Services. We use that money, we purchase box fans, make it available to seniors and also adults with disabilities.
Now, how do you decide who gets these? I mean, how do people even know to apply, or do certain agencies say, hey, I know we've got these 40 people here that need it? How does that happen?
Absolutely. So about this time of year, we start doing marketing. Essentially, there is an eligibility criteria that has to be met. An adult has to be 60 years of age or older, or
Okay.
if they're disabled, then they can be younger. They have to be a Forsyth County resident. So if they're in other counties, of course, other counties have the same funding.
Right.
And they have to have a situation in their home where a threat exists, such as maybe their air isn't working properly or they don't have air at all, and it can cause them to be vulnerable to a heat-related illness.
All right, now suppose I'm, fortunate enough to sign up and get a fan. Are these fans delivered, or does someone have to pick them up at a central location? How does that work?
So should say there is a form that's completed. It can be done online, or someone can call our adult services intake line. And the number for that is 336-703-3501. And we'll
say that one more time. We'll
certainly
write it down.
336-703-3501.
All right. And you say it's been going on for 40 years.
Yes.
I didn't know how long. I didn't know it had been going on for a while.
Okay.
Do you have any idea of how, I'm putting you on the spot now, what kind of feedback or success or anything that y'all have had over the years to know that you're making a difference, or anything you can judge?
Absolutely. So one of the questions you asked was, how do people get fans? For those who need it, we take the fans to them in their homes. That's a way that we can see that there's a real need in the community.
I got you.
And so once the word is out, we have great response from not only our customers that need it, but other individuals that help. It may be a personal care aide that notices their client needs a fan. Other community partners reach out to us so that.
This might be a dumb question, but once the hot season's over or that kind of thing, do we need to call and say, come pick it up, or can we keep it?
You keep it.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So there's no cost, of course, and the fan is yours for as long as you need it or want it.
Well, that's neat. Well, Tori, I appreciate what you're doing for everybody, and I get the sense that just by looking at your smile and everything, not to be corny about it, but I sense that you get a lot of gratification out of what you do in your job.
I do.
Do you?
I do. I certainly do. I love working with this population, older adults, seeing that their needs are met, they're safe and well in the community. Nothing brings me greater pleasure than that.
Who instilled that kind of public service ethic in you? Was it a mom, a dad, a grandmother, a teacher, or what?
All of the above. Actually, my mother lives with me, so she's a vibrant senior, still able to live somewhat independently. So I see the value in taking care of those who are our elders.
Yeah, bless your heart.
Thank you.
Thanks for doing all that.
Thank you.
It's Ray Stafford. We'll be right back after this.
You don't have time to attend every government meeting in Forsyth County. Subscribe to the Forsyth County newsletter. Available the first day of the month, the Forsyth County News arrives in email with articles, videos, and links to information and programs that matter to you. See updates from county commissioners, hear from the county manager, see quick videos of programs and activities, plus a look ahead. Stay up to date. Elections, tax office, air quality, parks, deeds, and more. Forsyth.cc/newsletter. Subscribe today.
Back now for Forsyth County Connections. Let's talk about jobs, and that's a good thing. And also a good thing is a good lady here. She does a lot of fine work in the county. Mickey Pope, social worker with the Forsyth County Department of Social Services. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me, Jim.
Your department has a new program called, and I'm just going to read off from an email that you gave me. It's called More Than a Job NC.
Yes.
What's that all about?
So we call it MTAJ for short. It is the same program that we used to call the Food and Nutrition Services Employment and Training Program.
Okay, all
So it's
right.
the same program. They just changed the name of it February of this year, where we actually are able to assist customers who receive F&S benefits, Food and Nutrition Services benefits, to pay for books and tuition at Providence Culinary Training or Forsyth Technical Community College.
So sort of, let's expand on that for a second. Who exactly is eligible for this? So if somebody's watching this right now and saying, wait a minute, I wonder if I can get in on this. Who would you say is eligible?
So anyone that is actually receiving benefits on an active Food and Nutrition Services case that is 16 years old or older.
Okay. Now, there's partners that collaborate with you. Let's talk about that.
So we collaborate with Goodwill. So right now, I actually go over to Goodwill twice a week on Monday and Thursday. I'm there all day to assist customers with services that they could also receive at DSS.
Right.
Sometimes it's just a closer trip for them to stop at the Goodwill on University Parkway. They'll stop by and see me. I can do applications with them for Medicaid, Work First, cash assistance. I can do food stamp or FNS benefits.
Right.
And then, of course, I can assist them with my program as well. And then if we have funds for energy assistance, I can assist with applications for energy assistance as
Okay,
well.
give me an example of some of the classes that people can take advantage of.
So, of course, Providence Culinary Training only does culinary.
Right.
I'm sorry, they do culinary and barista now.
Okay.
Forsyth Tech has tons of things. They've got one of the most sought after welding programs in the country. I'm very proud of Forsyth Tech for that. But they've got anything from business administration to entrepreneurship, things in the medical field, law enforcement, fire department training. So there's tons of things that a customer could actually get into.
Yeah. How do people get involved or enroll or register? What's the starting point for this?
They can actually meet with their workers at DSS and they can register them. I've actually got flyers up in all of the intake areas.
Okay.
So once they go in there, there's a flyer on the wall. They can scan the QR code, answer 5 or 6 questions. It comes directly to me, and then I'll reach back out to those customers. They can also call on the phone. They can call Forsyth Tech, they can call Goodwill, they can call Providence, or they can call me directly.
Helping people get where they want to be. I think that's great work that you're doing. What kind of personal gratification do you get out of doing this job?
Bragging rights. I get bragging rights left and right. I get invited to celebrations and to graduations. And most graduations have food, Jim. But I actually get to see families grow and to be able to take care of themselves financially. I get to see parents getting higher education in front of their children, which persuades their children to want to do more.
Yeah.
And so, and then I'm able to help the entire family. So if mom wants to do her high school diploma and the 16-year-old wants to do something as well, then I can help both of them at the same time on separate cases. Mom's doesn't affect the child's and the child's doesn't affect mom's.
How about
case.
that?
I love it. I love
You
it.
think these kind of initiatives are making a difference? What's your gut feeling?
They are making a difference. It's slow coming, though, I'll be honest. It's making a difference one person at a time. But every person that it affects, if they would look back and tell someone about the program, and then we could affect another family and another family, our whole community could be touched, yeah.
And that's just so important. Is there a website or someplace people can go to learn more about it?
Yes, so they can go to www.forsyth.cc, and that's like cat.
Right.
And at the top on the right-hand corner of the page, it actually will say food and nutrition, so it's going to show FNS, E&T, and they can look on that, and it will actually list the program. The flyer should be posted soon if it's not already posted, and then my direct phone number will be there. They can call me.
You do such great work, Mickey. Thanks for all you do.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
All right. We'll be right back after this.
Forsyth County has children from birth to teens, single children, and sibling groups looking for a brighter day that can only come from being paired with a foster family. Across our community, there are children who live under the dark clouds of abuse and neglect, who end up in the care of the Department of Social Services. Open your home and your heart. Help our children discover a brighter day. Call 336-703-2445 or online at forsyth.cc. Search Foster and Adopt.
Back now in our final segment of this edition of Forsyth County Connections. Thanks for hanging with us so far. We wrap up now with a special guest who's been with us before, and we like to have Michelle in once in a while and talk about elections. You know, even though we don't have a presidential election every year, we have like other kinds of things. So we're going to talk about elections. Michelle Bobadilla, she's Deputy Director, Forsyth County Board of Elections. Welcome back.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
What has the Board of Elections been up to since the 2024 elections? Because people say, oh, I guess Michelle and Tim and them just take off and went to the beach.
Yeah. We've been up to so much. We have Election Academy program coming up now in June, which is a 4-week program that we open for the community.
Where do people get information about that?
fcvotes.com.
Okay.
And they can apply online, and we're collecting applications starting tomorrow.
All right.
So we have that going on. Up until last month, we have processed 5,017 new voter application for voter registration.
Okay.
and other documents that folks send into our office.
There have been changes in election laws since you and I talked last, and since just last year in many cases. What kind of changes are we talking about, and how will they impact voters?
Yeah, so we have two law changes that folks should be aware of that will impact them as voters. One is House Bill 1064, passed in 2024, which now requires municipal elections in Forsyth County to be partisan. So in the past, we only had an election in November for municipal elections, but now with this law, we most likely will potentially have a primary election.
Okay.
And if we do, it will be held in September.
All right. So if a mayor or somebody wants to run for an office, they've got to declare, what party they're in, and it's a partisan thing.
Correct.
Yes.
Candidate filing starts in July,
Right.
from the 7th through the 18th. So that's when we will know if we will have a primary election.
Now, last year it was the first time people were required to have a voter ID. Have there been any changes to those requirements or exceptions?
No, requirements are still the same, and overall it went very smoothly. So everything that we had in place last year will remain for this year.
Let's talk about some ongoing work that you and Tim and your folks do, which is keeping voter rolls up to date. To me, it looks like that's a tough job, because that's where a lot of these controversies come up nationwide about, I don't know if my vote was counted, or I didn't get to vote because I live in the wrong. How do you guys go about that? I mean, what's going on?
So that's a crucial task, and we perform that all year long. And we call that list maintenance. It's required by law, and that means that this process requires us to remove voters that are ineligible. So if you moved out of the county, if you passed away, or a convicted felon, this process allows us to identify who those are and remove them from the.
And I'll brag about you and your department, because you guys do a great job to keep that up. Because you hear about these things in the news in some other states. Say, I heard that dead people were voting. I mean, you really work to make sure those kind of things aren't going on. Now, let me double back on this thing about elections. There are going to be multiple elections this year, right?
Correct.
When do they fall?
So if we have a primary election, which we will know after the candidate filing in July.
Right.
The primary election is September 9th.
Okay.
Depending on what happens with that election, if we have one, we could potentially have a second primary.
Okay.
And if we do have one, it will be October 7th.
All right.
And then we have the municipal general election, November 4th.
And tell me again the website where people can go to. Or
www.fcvotes.com.
Yeah, and that's important, because they'll tell you about registering and all that kind of stuff. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, my pleasure.
All right, well, that wraps up this edition of Forsyth County Connections. We want to thank, of course, Ed McNeil, our executive producer, Jeff Fabrizio, who keeps things going behind the scenes. He's right there right now, giving me some signals. I'm not sure what signal that was he just gave me. And of course, our fearless leader, the county manager, Chantel Robinson, who keeps things going in the county. For all of us here, Forsyth County Connections, I'm Jim Longworth. We'll see you next time.